Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just appreciate you for tuning live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. We're up to episode 669, Minorities in Law versus Majority Mindset. Definitely appreciate everybody for tuning live, listening to replay. This episode is a long awaited episode, a conversation that we're going to have over a few episodes here, and most likely do an interview with one of the senior mentors, really wanting to highlight pretty much the majority mindset. A lot of people come to the vault and they really don't know they have a minority mindset or a minor mindset. And a lot of them aspire to have a majority mindset. And a lot of people don't know what a majority mindset looks like. At the vault, we train, we work with individuals and families that want to operate from a majority mindset. People want to know what is the majority mindset. We're going to go over it in this particular episode. There are some highlight points, and then there are many subjective, discretionary points of a majority. This is not to be offensive to anybody we're talking about in law. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm a minor," or "they're a minor," and they don't know what a majority is, and they're not a majority. And a minority is not based off of actual consciousness of a group of people. It's actually based off of an individual. So this episode calls to each individual to look at your mindset towards commerce, how you're operating in commerce, and how to operate in commerce properly. And so minors traditionally operate from a perspective of entitlement, privileges, public mindset. They are uh, could be, once again, not necessarily just groups, but an individual that there used to be litmus tests that they used to have in commerce. They did it via the census. The census would ask you three questions: can you read, can you write, and can you speak English? And so when we talk about a minor in law, how are you going to understand the law in the jurisdiction that you're in? If you do not know the law, you can't read the law, you can't write the law, and you don't understand how to speak the law. And so these are a small litmus test to find out how versed are you in trusteeship. A lot of people come to the vault for trusteeship. A lot of people want to know, well, what is a minor? Well, you can judge yourself if you're a minor or a major based off of, can you read the law? Can you speak the law? And can you write it? Can you write the minutes out? Can you write the language properly? Can you spell the words phonetically, and things of that nature? And so America has been known for a place that has illiterate people at times, so they are considered minors. In law, the technical term for someone that would be considered illiterate in law or in finance, because finance is law. Finance is dealing with financial laws. They have to have financial laws in place. So finance, business is law. Is pretty much the term. Financial law or law at large. Well, many people say, "Oh man, trust Christian involved. We trying to do financial literacy." It shows that they're minors. Majorities don't have to scream that they're studying. Majorities are consummate students of the law. Majority knows the law and they study the law as if that is the only thing that matters, which is true. It's just, do most people know that? Not necessarily. So once again, are they aware of the jurisdiction, the law? We had a trustee ask us this the other day on a call, which was what's the difference between the jurisdiction and the language. Those things are important. So majorities majorities operate from a position of private. They operate from a position of own nothing, control everything. Majorities operate from a position of stewardship. Majorities operate from a position of having more than enough. Majorities operate from a position of having, not a position of taking. Majorities operate from a position of they understand the difference between them and a legal entity. They understand the difference clearly and they operate as such that there is a chess piece or a pawn that is used in commerce. They understand the difference between legal title and equitable title. Uh, they understand that they're not to be a surety for debts. They understand that they cannot be a surety for debts. They are aware that collateral has to be utilized, and they are not to be utilized as collateral, as that is a form of physical slavery to pay for a debt in physical recompense or payment. That is a form of physical indenture servitude. And so, once again, the majority says, well, is the debt on paper, which is a debt instrument? If the paper is debt, then they understand that it's not private, it's public. Majorities understand that when you're operating in the debt society, uh, that there is a few ways to pay for debts, and you can't pay for a debt with a debt. So when we have people come to us with this mindset, oh, trust Christian, you can't pay for a debt with a debt. Thanks for the heads up. We already are aware of that, but are you operating as a majority once again? Why do you have to operate as a majority? Or why is it so challenging to operate as a majority? This is an easy one. It's so challenging to operate as a majority because most people have been programmed into being a minority. They've been programmed into being a public person. How can you operate as a private person when you've been trained to be a public person your whole life? And it goes against your initial base programming, whether that's from employees, quote unquote, or whether that's from people that are not leaders, they're followers. So once again, if individuals are surrounded by a minority mindset in their upbringing and just throughout their initial programming, they're going to have that initial programming of being a minority. And minority is not a group classification. It is a legal status. It is a financial status to a degree. How do you know what someone is financially? You can find out someone's financial status by finding out if they're a minority or a majority. Majority is not just the amount of money that you have, because it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And then in what status are you holding that position? We could ask that question: what status, what position are you holding that capital? What position are you holding the estate? What position are you managing the estate? We could easily ask that question. We are here managing estates on planet Earth. So how do we get to this place of ownership? Well, that's how minors think. Minors think that they can own something. Minors are willing to tell themselves lies, even though they still might hear the truth or know of the truth. The minor, that's that. Majority understands that everything can be amended, things can be corrected on paper, that money is paper, quote unquote, paper, quote unquote. Yep, definitely. A lot of people say, "Oh, there's no such thing as money." That's a lie. And then they'll say, "Oh, well, there is no money." That's a lie. The money is paper. The money has various forms. Throughout society and throughout time and history, there's various different forms of money. So to say that fiat is not money, it's the equivalent of what we use, what humans use as a trade and a exchange in commerce for goods and services. So it does have a place. It does have a utility. That's why they call it a utility. And what they call it, whatever people want to call it, some type of utilities, right? But there's a difference between there, and then there's various forms of securities. That's what majorities are aware of. Majorities are aware of the various forms of paper securities, the various forms of chattel paper that's operating in commerce. They understand that they are not in commerce, that there is a paper in commerce, whether that's considered debt or whether that's considered credit. They understand that there is paper operating in commerce, not humans. Humans are humans are the reasons why these entities exist. So humans, for that reason, are not allowed to be in commerce. Remember, once debt was allowed to be created, then that allowed humans to not have to enter into commerce and do any form of physical trade for goods and services. You can use a form of hypothecation, which is a financial instrument. It could be a promissory note all the way up to actual fiat currency. There's various ways to make payment for things. A promissory note can make a payment for something, just like a Federal Reserve note can make a payment for something. We're not giving financial advice or legal advice. What we are talking about is having a majority mindset. And this is the majority mindset that Oh, the lawyers are supposed to tell me trust Christian in the vault. The lawyers are supposed to tell me. No, the lawyers are not supposed to tell you. The majority hires the jet. We hire the lawyers. We hire the barristers. We hire the solicitors. We hire them. The family estate hires them. That's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Our family estates hired them. Not, oh, we're at the subjugation of the lawyers and the politicians of the country writing the laws on us. That's not how it works. As a majority, to a degree, oh, well, people want to condemn Elon or whoever. Oh, well, they're writing the laws for them. They're paying for laws to be passed for them. That is an actual job. It's called a lobbyist. Somebody, a company, pays for someone to lobby for things to be done on their behalf, the corporate behalf traditionally, the group behalf traditionally. That's a majority mindset, not a minor mindset. Majority mindset. So, do you have a majority mindset most of the time? Do you have a minority mindset most of the time? Minorities feel lack, scarcity. They believe in those things. They have FOMO. People say, "Oh, trust Christian. Tell me a minor is about the amount of money that you make." First of all, we've sat in a room with multimillionaires. When you talk about it, whether they're deca millionaires or centimillionaires, even got $100 million. Of course, they're gonna. Some of them have FOMO. It's called fear of missing out. Yes, there are successful entrepreneurs that have fear of missing out at levels that are higher because they have a ton of money. And so, what do you say to that? Oh well, Christian, how trust Christian? How could that be the case? How do they have the fear of missing out? Once again, because they have a minority mindset. The majority mindset is they already are taken care of and they're just looking to keep score and keep playing the game. But if you have a scarcity mindset, a fear mindset, you're not going to even evaluate risk properly. You're not going to evaluate for sure. That's what our mentors would have told us. You're not going to evaluate risk properly when you're operating from a scarcity or fear based mindset. Everything is just a risk calculation, properly done or not done. That's it. So how is there a fear-based mentality and scarcity mentality injected into finance or injected into life decisions? These are minority thought processes versus majority thought processes. Oh man, I'm letting emotions be injected into the financial decision, into a logical paper-based decision. I'm injecting emotions, trust Christian. Now, some people could say that that's the ego and it might not be serving you. So there's an ego trying to protect you, which is saying don't make that financial position, take that financial risk. We've lost before. Don't take that risk because we've lost before. You hear the type of minority thinking, whereas majority thinking says, hey, we already made it, so we can lose it. And if we lose it, we can make it again because we have the ability to do it. Now, granted, there's a time value that's either won or lost there, but that's why when we were talking to even some investors and business people recently, within the past 24 hours, we let them know a lot of successful investors that we work with, they're focused on how long it takes to get the money back, not how much money they're getting back. They want to know how long it takes to get the money back, man. We got people talking about, oh man, I'm trying to make some money. Nah, it's about how long it takes you to make it. How long it takes you to make it. Oh no, trust Christian, don't say it like that. I was just trying to make something. Majorities are thinking about how long it takes to make it back. So are you putting up capital? Are you investing your Remember that people respect the fact that you put time in first. Oh, I put in time and now I'm gonna collect the check. Right? You gotta put in time before you get the money. And the majority mindset and the minor mindset, they just show up and the check starts coming, quote unquote, because they know. And it's interesting because how do you, as a minority, right? You're operating off the same governance and a universal law of faith as the majority. That's a fact. The same law of faith. Hey, I'm gonna get paid in 2 weeks. The majority says I'm just gonna get paid. Majority says we're paid. We're gonna do the work first, though. We're gonna do the work. Minority says, oh, okay. I think I'm gonna get paid. I know I'm gonna get paid because I know someone else has taken the risk that I didn't take. So they come in, they sit and they do the work just enough. They go home, and then they know in 2 weeks they're gonna get a paycheck. And then in 2 weeks, There's a surprise. Their faith has paid off. Now they get a blessing, a reward. And then how does that look? Okay, my faith has been rewarded. Now I can go back to being a minority, not knowing that, hey, what did I do here that I can do for myself first, not for someone else showing up second? That's just the question. Minority says, okay, I'm not going to wait for someone to do something first. I'm going to go do it first, and then I'm going to get paid. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do something first, and then I'm actually going to have other people do it. That's the true power of majority. Majority understands that there's a minority, and they're going to work for a majority. This is a harsh reality of going to the majority side, especially if you come from the minority side. Oh, trust Christian. I got to have a minority to work for me? Yeah. How you gonna be a leader and not have a follower? You can't be a leader and not have a follower. You have to you have to have a follower in order to be a leader. Oh, no, there's nothing to talk about. It's real easy. You're a leader because you have followers. Some people may say, "Oh, it's social." We're not gonna get into that debate. What we are going to say is what we said. The principle and the law is the truth. If you are a leader, you have followers. If you are a majority, you have minorities working for you. You have minorities working for the family estate. They work for the family estate. It doesn't mean that they're subordinates or they're like less than people or anything like that. It just means that they may not be operating from the same paper financial thought process capacity that you're operating from. And it's interesting because we saw that recently with some trustees. Like, yeah, you think about it. There are people that, oh, I want to be in trusteeship. I want to be in trusteeship. If you're going to be in trusteeship, you're going to be a majority. Why? Because you actually are taking your mindset, your physique, your body out of commerce and understanding that it is trust, Christian, own nothing, control everything. And you make sure that the paper is doing the work, not you. The money is doing the work, not you. You don't work for money. Money works for you. There is a different thought process as a majority, whereas a minority says, I'm just working. Majority says we're going to make sure money works for us when we have it because it is a tool, just like a minority is a tool. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen, replay. We know that this episode was very poignant, to the point, when it comes to what a minority is. These are things that when trustees get in trustee training, we encourage them. Hey, look up the definition of what a minority is and what a majority is in commerce. Not just the colloquial. Oh, we're gonna put it on channel news terms. Nah, that don't work over here no more. Trying to put it in the news terms. The news terms is over here got the population confused. They giving people half. They the ones that's misteaching people through mislanguage and disinformation and misinformation and all of this stuff that they're talking about on there. Oh, well, you should look into this and look into that. But is it the majority language or is it the minor language? Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. We got a bunch of trustees that are in the trustee training right now. Just really excited and thankful for the families that are in trustee training, and just getting consulting. A lot of times some people, they fall off the wagon, as they say, but we really are thankful that the trustees that lean into their education, lean into working with Trust Christian in the vault. We appreciate y'all. Why? Because we understand that this is a different language. And some people say, oh, Trust Christian, you on the deep end now. You out in deep waters. And I'm just pushing my boat out to the waters. I'm just getting out to the waters, Trust Christian in the vault. I'm just starting to paddle. The water's going to get deep. You talking a whole nother language. Here we go. We're going to tell you a quick anecdotal story for yourself and how you can develop yourself when you run into these waves as you paddle out to the deeper seas of opportunity. So we're on the line with a trustee yesterday. It's a sister. Shout out to the African indigenous descent women that are in trusteeship. Always appreciate you all. Uh, you know, always appreciate them. Always, it's just exciting to see. She's taking notes and she stops. She literally cuts Trust Christian off and says, I don't know that acronym. Could you tell me what that means? And we gave her props because a lot of times when people are speaking, and we're aware of this based off of studies and education, that when people don't know stuff, sometimes they just won't say anything to the person that's speaking. And we were really thankful and proud that we got trustees that go through the program that understand there's an importance to actually saying, you know what, it's not about being rude and cutting someone off. It's about understanding one, which is superior. Understanding is going to be, oh, you offended me. It's understanding. So the ones that don't want to seek understanding, they won't receive the blessing. So she was seeking understanding, and it didn't look rude. It was like, oh, okay, I need to know the acronym. And we shared with her that we've sat in bigger rooms, larger ballrooms where someone may throw out an acronym. And we've literally, in the middle of a ballroom, said, please tell us what that means. Why? Because it's only accurate for you to get the accurate information. How are you going to operate on wrong information? If trustees just say, hey, I'm going to just pay trust question in the vault just to find out what they know. That's what we do at the vault. We go out into new environments to find out what people know. It's called research and development. You're doing research and development for your family estate to go on for generations. It's not one way to do it, right? So you have to continue to invest in your education. Multiple, once again, you're investing in the information. There are some families that have done it the way you want to do it, and then there's some families that haven't. It's interesting to see how people try to even poo-poo on the families, like certain last names, and we're like, oh, okay, people want to talk about the family estate. It's like there's a difference between the individual that built the family estate and the family estate. Because if the family estate is still doing its job, taking care of people, you could talk bad about the majority individual all you want. I didn't like their tactics. I didn't like this. Yeah, but they're also housing 300 plus people. We're housing over 150. They're housing over 1,200 people. We know about these families that are housing hundreds of people because they have their family estate is so big that yes, they just literally have houses. They have properties. They have cars. They have education funds available for their family. Would you? Oh, I built generational wealth trust, Christian, but I didn't want my kids to have a free lunch. See, that's the question you really got to ask yourself. When you come over to the majority side, are you going to let your kids be a minority, or are you going to be? Are you going to let them? Are you going to grow them into a majority? And they have to make that decision. They have to want to be in control and not own something. They have to want that. The society is going to attack them. Oh, why don't you want to own anything? You're an oddball. What do you mean you don't own anything? You're an oddball. You don't want a mortgage? You're an oddball. You don't want a loan for a car? You're an oddball. Oh, you go to your family private bank for money? Oh, your family made you go to school to learn an education so you could work for the family estate? Oh, wow, my family let me do whatever I want and I'm in student loans. Exactly. Minority thought process. Majority thought process, yeah, gonna have to do what the family asked me. They're gonna give me a free education. They're gonna allow me to not have to pay for a house. I'm not gonna have to pay for my first car. I'm pretty much just gonna basically, y'all don't want to hear it this way. They're being paid to learn. We were talking to one of our trustees the other day, actually a millionaire, and it's interesting because this is a trustee that's a millionaire. They have $1 million business. It's so awesome to work with trustees where this trustee is studying and has done it redundantly. Books that are 200 pages, they've read them more than once. Oh, trust Christian in the vote. I gotta read a book more than once, and it's 200 pages. What are you talking about? I gotta watch my favorite movie. I gotta watch my Netflix. Whatever they doing. I gotta go to the baseball game instead of reading a book 2 times, 3 times. Okay, this trustee has read some books that we are aware of for 200 pages plus. Read the books multiple times. We have to give them the credit and we share with them. This is a young lady once again. Traditionally in families, what you see and her style of operating as a millionaire, quote unquote, if you're born into a millionaire family, traditionally all they're going to do is just, you don't have to pay for anything, but you're going to have to learn. So what she's doing is very appropriate for her family estate thought process, which is Yeah, we're not in here quibbling over the shekels and the pennies and dimes and nickels. We're not sweating money. That's not our issue. What they are about is continuously fortifying the family estate with we would call it brain power, thought process. So when we do work with families, some families that are with the vault, and it's two or three or four, you all that are listening that are in that situation, just know that there's supposed to be power in numbers. By there being power in numbers, there is power in numbers, especially if you have the right mindset. Especially if you have the right mindset. If you believe in each other, there's power in that. There's power in working together with people. Majority versus minority. What's your thought process? Are you looking to work with your family or your friends or whoever? And are you okay with having minorities working for you? Oh man, trust Christian and vote. I love everything about life. But that one thing you said about I'm going to be a majority and I'm going to have minorities working for me and I got to be comfortable with it. We promise you that is a hang up for an entire culture because they have taken on the term minority. It is a universal consciousness for them. It is a group consciousness for them that they are a minority. And when you have a group consciousness that you are a minority, how are you going to operate as a majority if you have not taken on the mindset and the majority thought process, the majority consciousness? What is the majority consciousness? And it's not subject to, it is not second place, it is not minority, it is not inferior, it is first, it is dominant, it is blessed. It has to be. It has to be cup half full, not half empty. Oh man, slavery in the hard bouts. No. Majority. We're operating from a position of power. Affirmation of the day, I am all that is. There we go. Appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen, replay. Always appreciate you all for tuning in live, listen, and replay. Definitely look forward to hearing you all reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. You can reach out, get a consultation. We got families that have enrolled. We got groups of families that have enrolled. And we work with a bunch of families. It's always good to work with the families, but we also have individuals that just need those one-on-one, stay in the loop conversations. They understand they need some consultations. A lot of families need consultations. Majorities take majorities. We telling y'all stories of majorities that get consultations. They get consultations because it's like a doctor. They need to go and get a checkup. Well, in business, they're doing running every 30-day cycles with your money. Your bills are usually every 30 days, so they're doing 30-day cycles. And as a majority, when you're really operating as a quality majority, you're operating off of those 30-day cycles, setting your goals 30 days and saying, what can we do for the family estate in the next 30 days for the long-term goal? The shortest we're going to do is a daily. The mid-range is going to be a week or a month. And then, the long-term is the long-term. So where are we at in life? And so appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that is Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Peace and joy.